Chiefs Kingdom has started its own history class.
This is a legendary run by a legendary team. You got to enjoy every minute of it.
Tagovailoa is in trouble. Sacked. Back in the end zone. Caught. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Stone Cold gets the big sack.
The Chiefs won another close one last week, and now at 3-0 for the first time in 4 years, we're back on the road to take on the Chargers for the first divisional matchup of the season. We are 2 hours from kickoff. You've waited all week for this very moment. It's finally here. It is time for football in Chiefs Kingdom. Let's do this. My name is Matt McMullen, joined by voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. This is Field Pass, presented by StorageMart. And Mitch, in Kansas City nowadays, success is measured by Super Bowls, which is a pretty fun thing to say. But the first goal every single year is winning the AFC West. And that journey begins here today. Got to take care of business.
It was apparent the first week Andy Reid was here. You know, it's curious. When he was in Philadelphia, he won the NFC East 8 years out of 14. Think about what that division has been like historically. Within the first month he was here, way back in 2013, I saw how much he emphasized division games. He thinks about the division in March, April, and May, and June, and it speaks for itself. The Chiefs' division record has been phenomenal.
Well, think about all the AFC West titles over the last several years. We've won 8 in a row. That's the second longest stretch for any team in the Super Bowl era. In that span, we're 41-7 against divisional opponents. And Patrick Mahomes specifically, he's 30-5 against divisional opponents and 17-1 on the road. It's been historic and a great chance to keep that going here today.
The 2 big stats that just floor you about Patrick Mahomes is his playoff record at 15-3. But the 17-1 in division road games is something that is so incredibly unusual. His only loss, and he was up all night puking, it was last year at Denver. That's it. That's his only loss. And he's had great moments on this field. Remember the walk-off in 22 on the pass play in overtime to Kelsey sealed the division, and other moments. So, but just the fact that Patrick Mahomes, much like Andy Reid, attacks division games with an unusual fervor.
And we don't say this to brag. I understand past success doesn't help us today, but what it shows is a commitment to preparation, right? And you touched on this. We don't prepare for these games just this week or even in training camp. It begins way back in May, and that's one of my favorite things about Coach Reid. He has specific OTA days in the spring completely dedicated to divisional opponents.
And in camp at St. Joseph, he will have dedicated days for division opponents early on in camp in the first 2 weeks. It'll be Charger Day, and the guys won't even know it. And then he will hearken back to that when you get ready for Charger and Charger Week. Hey, back on August the 7th or May the 10th, we were working on this. This is why we did it. And it tells guys, the veterans that have been around a while know what Coach thinks of winning these division games. He knows that's got to be the #1 priority, and it's shown up with 8 straight division titles.
One of the many reasons he is the best to ever do it, in my opinion. Now, it will not be easy here today. This Chargers team is tough and really on both sides of the ball. And we'll start with their defense. They own the number 3 scoring defense in the NFL right now. They're allowing just 11 points per game on average. They've also allowed the fewest red zone drives of any team in the NFL and the second fewest first downs. Now, as a caveat, they have played the Raiders, the Panthers, and the Steelers. Not exactly offensive powerhouses, but still, you can't control who is on your schedule. And for who they've played, they've been very good defensively.
But, Matt, it's ridiculous to have just 5 red zone penetrations in 3 weeks. I don't care who you're playing. And there's only 1 touchdown in those 5 penetrations. They're second in the NFL, just 20% allowed in red zone touchdown, and that's been an issue for the Chiefs. We know that, right? They're in the lower third in red zone offense. So that's a key, big key in this game. It's been an emphasis. Butker's been great, 7 field goals out of 7 attempts this year. But this is a day 7 needs to be touchdowns, not a field goal from Butker.
And these guys have some playmakers on defense as well. They're missing some. We'll get to that a bit later, but Khalil Mack will be out there today. We know a lot about Khalil Mack. Seen him a lot over the years with the Raiders and now the Chargers. And he's off to another good start. He leads this team in pressures with 9, quarterback hits with 4, and sacks with 2.5.
They got some sneaky guys on defense, though, that I don't think get enough credit. A guy like Morgan Fox, and he's a veteran. He's very difficult to block. They're linebackers. You know, they're getting recycling here with Perryman a little bit, but even their corners, Asante Samuel Jr., whose dad played for Coach Reid in Philadelphia.
Makes me feel old.
Oh, yeah. But there's capable defenders on this team, and statistically, it has shown up.
And looking at the line of scrimmage, the Chiefs' offensive line was good last week. No sacks allowed. I thought Wanye Morris was pretty good last week, and that was important considering the circumstances. And the Chiefs' offense moved the football last week. They were in Falcons territory on 6 of 9 possessions. You mentioned the red zone, though. That was the issue, and that's kind of been a theme this season so far. The Chiefs are only 4 of 9 in the red zone. That's a key for me today. I'd love to see that get cleaned up.
That's 22nd in the league, as I alluded to. They're only 21st on third down. Third down's another issue, and better last week. They were near 50%, but keep in mind they beat Cincinnati with only 1 third down conversion.
Wow.
Where have they made up for it has been first down efficiency. They're second in the league in what they get on first downs. But today, because of this defense and being on the road in a division game, third down, red zone are big. That's 2 of the base subjects that you take in the NFL. The Chiefs need at least A's or B's in those 2 areas.
Now let's look at the other side. This Chargers offense is an interesting study, to say the least. So Greg Roman is their offensive coordinator. He was hired in the offseason, and if you know anything about Greg Roman, he loves to run the football, and he's done that throughout his career. Think about his stops earlier in his career. The Colin Kaepernick 49ers, that's Greg Roman. The early Lamar Jackson days in Baltimore, that's Greg Roman. He loves to run the football, and he's doing that here as well. The Chargers are running the ball at the 4th highest rate of any team in the NFL.
56% runs. But what did you mention in those 2 examples? A mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
Kaepernick could run, and so we know how Lamar Jackson can run. With Justin Herbert being limited today, look like he's going to play, warmed up right in front of us, high ankle sprain and plantar fasciitis. He can run enough, but I think that injury debilitates him there. The Chargers, Jim Harbaugh is very different than his brother John. And we've said this all week. We said it on DTK. We've said it on Kingdom Conversations. But he wants to become the Ravens of the AFC West. He wants to be the Steelers of the AFC West. That means not only run the ball, but be physical. They want to pound the ball. They'll take shots, and they have. When you look at Quentin Johnston, the second-year wide receiver from TCU. But it's J.K. Dobbins in getting explosive run plays. He had a 61-yard run. 2 of his 3 games this year, he's been over 130 yards. Somewhere this new Charger/Raven team has got to get chunk plays in the run game, and Dobbins is capable.
And it's kind of ironic. Where did J.K. Dobbins come from? The Baltimore Ravens. And now, of course, he's here. And, yeah, he's been very good. He's 3rd in the NFL in rushing right now with 310 yards on the ground. He's averaging a ridiculous 7.4 yards per carry. Now, you mentioned his first 2 games went over 130 yards rushing. He was really good. But last week against Pittsburgh, just 44 yards on the ground on 15 carries. And their offense stalled as a result. They went 3 and out 5 times last week.
In fact, they are second in the league, 29th in the league and overall in 3 and outs, which is interesting. 11 times in 35 drives, they have been 3 and out. They can't afford to do that today. They have got to stay on the field. They've also had their red zone woes on offense. When you look at what they've done, just 3 of 7. That's 24th in the league. So when you look at the numbers on offense, especially in the base subjects, the Chargers and the Chiefs are kind of mirror images here. So who can overcome their early season dilemmas in those categories wins this game.
And for me, for the Chiefs defense, you just have to stop Dobbins. I think that's the whole key. And the good news is Kansas City has been very good against opposing running backs this year. And if you're wondering, we said the exact same thing on Field Pass last week, and that was the key for that game as well, in my opinion. Going into that game, the Chiefs had held opposing running backs to an average of only 3.8 yards per carry. And we're like, we got to slow down Bijan Robinson, right? Well, we held Bijan to an average of just 1.9 yards per carry last week, and the overall number went down. The Chiefs have now held opposing running backs to an average of only 3.3 yards per carry on the season. He did a similar effort here today against Dobbins.
But I think Dobbins gives you, even more than Bijan Robinson, a big play element. The big plays have not been there for the Chargers. They only have 6 20-plus plays. Only New England has fewer coming into week 4 of the season. But where do they get those plays? They can get them from Dobbins in the run game, even more than Robinson of Atlanta. So run fits, it sounds cliche, run fits are important. Tackling, not letting Dobbins get loose, but he can run for a 50-yard run, and that's the Chargers have to have that right now of where their offense is at and what Harbaugh is trying to build here.
Well, the guy that we're counting on today is linebacker Nick Bolton. He was awesome last week, made the game-sealing play, and Mitch had a chance to catch up with Nick on the latest episode of Defending the Kingdom earlier this week.
Oh, let's just bring in the hero of the win over the Atlanta Falcons, Nick Bolton, number 32. Now, Nick, you know this. I love high school football at all levels, but I love Texas high school football. For a Frisco Lone Star Ranger to tackle a dude from UT. He doesn't even count. He went to like Tucson, Arizona, but to get that play, how cool was it?
Yeah, man, it was definitely a special moment for our team. Kind of went dinged up throughout the game, man, and just kind of sticking to it. Just finding a way to help my teammates, help my brothers win the football game. And I give credit to a lot of those guys that held down the fort for us. Drew made a great play, kind of gave us a chance to give him a 3rd and short and get it to 4th down, and ultimately made a play on 4th.
What about recognition there? I wish in the play-by-play I did not mention Algier was out there together with him.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that was maybe a tip-off for you or your recognition of thinking what they might run?
Yeah, man, I think when I first lined up, I saw both the backs. 25 is a bigger back, so first thing I think is maybe fullback dive. Then he checked and went to alert, and I saw 7 back there. So 7's a speed guy, perimeter guy. So after the alert came up, I kind of figured that it was probably going to be a perimeter run. I just waited for 25 to kind of lead me to the ball, man, just shot my gap.
You have had to fight through. Coach talks at power throughing these injuries. You get hurt in that game. We're sitting there watching you trying to get back. How much have you had to fight through this season injury-wise, and how much did you have to fight through in the Atlanta game?
Yeah, man, I think the last couple of years, man, it's kind of just been that story. Just kind of figure out a way to put my best foot forward and trying to get as many plays I can in for our team and ultimately can help us win. And so just fighting through injuries, man, it's kind of just been the story the last 2 years, but got to find a beauty in the struggle a little bit.
I want to ask you about the mindset of this defensive team of the Chiefs. 0-2 were the Ravens in goal to go. You defend, put up a brick wall at the 6 and the 11 to win the game. What about the mindset of this team, particularly as teams get close to the goal?
Yeah, man, I think you kind of hit on it. It's demanding better from where we were last year. We got a lot of praise on what we were able to do in the season. And one of the things we wanted to demand better on was run defense. I think we were like 27th in the league. And so I think we kind of feel that in the first couple of games, man. Kind of demand everybody to kind of do their part, do your 111th. And ultimately comes down to making game time plays at the end of the game. And everybody saw the last play of the game where I made the play, but the play was made through the people we put in on the D-line, getting vertical. Leo's crushing the tackle, put him in the backfield, and I just go there and execute the play. So I think it takes all 11. Everybody's demanding better of each other and of your teammates and your coaches as well. We just kind of take the next step forward.
And for you to lead the whole group, you wear the green dot. I try to remind fans all the time, you're the quarterback of the defense. In trying to orchestrate all that D-bet defense, tell me what's on your plate, because it seems like you got a full plate.
Yeah, man, I'm just trying to the best I can in the fastest way possible I can. I'm trying to get everybody aligned, make sure there's no mislap in communication. If I can try to help somebody out with a key or two before a snap, what I saw throughout the week, and try to get that out to them as quick as I can as well. And then ultimately, I just try to let guys play fast. If any way I can minimize communication or make things concise so guys can go line up and play their quickest, man, I try to do that the best way possible. And at the end of the day, just trying to get my 11 play better than yours.
And how big is it that we rotate so many guys on the defensive front? Turk's playing great. Felix makes a play in that game. Those guys keeping dudes off of you guys at the second level. How big is that?
Yeah, man, it's huge. I think all game, man, we kind of moved around, got in some bare front. There was an open team last game, so taking that away from them, putting the body there, playing a little bit in the bare front, man, and they're keeping me clean, letting me scrape over the top and kind of use what God gave me, man, my eyes, hands, and feet, and go out there and make plays. And so I kind of mentioned it earlier, man, it's been taking everybody. Turk's been crushing people. Chris is doing his thing. Mike Pennell goes there and do his thing. You got Drew and Leo on the edges, man, setting the edge, and then Jamari comes down there and makes plays too. So all those guys, man, are integral pieces to me be able to do my job.
The whole D-bet thing is really working. Coverage for you guys at linebacker, whether it's you, Drew, Leo, whomever's out there, coverage. And in the first 2 weeks of seeing all those tight ends on the field, and I'm looking at the Chargers going, we could see 2 and 3 tight ends in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I think we do a great job, man, trying to keep guys from doing what they do well. A lot of times guys want to get their wideouts going, so kind of leaves a little rookie yardage into the tight ends, man. But some of that stuff, when you go into the game plan throughout the week, you got to live with it. And so if you want to take away the best wideouts, man, you're not going to be able to take away everybody's best everything. So you kind of got to live with some of those things, and now you got to tackle it and try to keep everything in front the best we can.
You've taken so much pride in stopping the run, but the biggest thing the Chargers are doing now is J.K. Dobbins.
Yep.
He's third in the league in rushing. He's had big plays. How do you slow him down, and how do you prevent the splash big play? Because it looks like the Chargers can do that in their offense with him.
Yeah, definitely from what I've seen on tape, man, J.K.'s been electric with the football in his hands, and they're doing a great job of switching up different runs and like not having an idea on exactly like they're going to run this play. They highly hit everything about 1-2 times, and I'm trying to trust your keys, and it's going to take all 11 of us. Since training camp, we've been priding ourselves on eyes and discipline and knowing our scheme and knowing where the guys going to be aligned at. And I think it's going to be probably biggest in this stage, in this game, because they're going to play a whole bunch of different run games, a whole bunch of different gap schemes, try to get your eyes and jet motion and everybody get discombobulated. And so it's going to take a lot of communication, eyes, and just getting guys lined up and just trusting your keys and playing fast.
Ice in his veins to make the stop to win the game, but how nervous were you when Missouri's in overtime with Vanderbilt?
Oh, yeah, man. It was a tough one, man. I had to cut it off for a little bit, man. And we got a lot of good thing is we got a lot of Mizzou guys throughout the facility, man. So they're able to keep me updated on the score. We got to find a way to win, though, and we got a good one this week, too.
He is the leader of the whole D-Bet charge, wearing the green dot and making plays. 32, Nick Bolton.
All right, awesome stuff there from Nick Bolton. We just got the inactives for today's game. And, of course, last week we were talking about how it was so boring. We had, like, no news to break. There's plenty of news to break here with the Chargers. But we'll start with the Chiefs. Only real injury of note here is Mike Dana. Mike not going to play here today. Calf kind of hurt him during the week. I don't think it's super serious, but just not going to play here today. So no Mike Dana. Kareem Hunt, though, is active here today for his first game back with the Chiefs and signing with us a couple weeks ago. What are you expecting out of Kareem Hunt here today?
Enough. It's still a algebraic equation, quadratic equation, and the fact that you got Carson Steele, who's been effective, but you don't want to wear him out. You're going to get a little more Samaje Perine. You're also going to get coach's ingenuity, right? You got to your spot for me today. You got to be on your toes.
I will be.
But you will get some Kareem Hunt today that you didn't get last week with Keontae Ingram. So he's wearing 29, not 27. Shamari Connor didn't give up his number, but still, I think there's enough there in Kareem Hunt to lead to a win. Not 2017 Kareem Hunt, but again, it's a little bit of piece and a recipe, all those guys.
Now, looking at the Chargers, there is a lot here, so get comfortable. We'll try to get through all of this. They have a bunch of injuries right now, and it's significant injuries. So the first one, Justin Herbert is active. I think we kind of all thought that would be the case. But keep in mind, he has a high ankle sprain he's dealing with. Got hurt in week 2, kind of re-aggravated it last week and left the game against the Steelers early. Also, they're not going to have Joe Alt or Rashawn Slater here today. Joe Alt, of course, the rookie right tackle out of Notre Dame, very good player, not going to play. And Rashawn Slater, one of the best young left tackles in the NFL, not going to play. So Justin Herbert is going to go, but no Joe Alt, no Rashawn Slater here in this game.
They're also down 2 defensive backs and Joey Bosa, but those tackles being out, and with Mike Dana being out, that puts some pressure now on Felix Anudike-Uzomah, Malik Herring. Those snaps that Mike gets, and Mike may be the most underrated player on this entire team, has got to get sprinkled out here among guys, and those guys have to be effective. Now, keep in mind, the guys that are replacing these 2 starting tackles have starting experience. Trey Pipkins was moved the guard, but now he'll go back out to tackle. He's got 38 starts as a tackle. It's not like they're going to put greenhorns out there. So, but the Chiefs on the outside need to take advantage of it.
Yeah, got to win. Defensively, you alluded to this, but no Joey Bosa here for them today. He has a hip injury, not going to play. Derwin James doesn't appear on the inactives list, but he's suspended. Derwin James is not going to play here in this game. And corner Jasir Taylor, kind of their starting nickel corner, not going to play with a fibula injury today. And also corner Christian Fulton is going to play. Christian Fulton is active, but he was questionable coming in with a knee injury. He's one of their starting corners as well. That could be something to watch.
And another guy, a dime back, Dean Leonard's out. So you've got 3 guys in the secondary with the suspension of Kerwin James Jr. So it's the same story. Exploit him. You got to attack Alohi Gilman. They brought Tony Jefferson back from retirement, basically. He was in the NFL. I'm going to be a front office guy, and they brought him out of retirement. He'll play safety today. So you got to attack him, man. Be relentless. Finish in the red zone, get big plays, and attack them where they're weak.
Yeah, they're hurting right now, but like we said earlier, if these guys are tough, and we've seen enough divisional football to know this will not be easy here today. The good news is the Chiefs are tough as well. And we're going for a 9th consecutive AFC West title. If you want to do that, you've got to get things done here today against teams like the Chargers. For Mitch Holthus, I'm Matt McMullen. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Let's go get a victory.